Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox and I'd like to welcome you to the Daily Compliance News. The Daily Compliance News is an offering of the Compliance Podcast Network. October 20, 2019, the Sunday Book Review edition of the Daily Compliance News. Today we have the Chicago Press edition. First up, American Warsaw. Each May, literally 250,000 people come out decked in red and white to head to Chicago's Loop to celebrate the Polish Constitution Day Parade. In the city, you can tune in to not one but four different Polish language radio stations or jam out to Polkaholics. You can have lunch at food trucks and pick up lots of Polish food. If you're lucky, you can take off work for the Pulaski Day. For more than a century, Chicago has been home to one of the largest Polish populations outside of Poland, and the group has enormous influence on the city's culture and politics. This book is a comprehensive study of Chicago, Polonia. With American Warsaw, the author chronicles more than a century of immigration and migration back to Poland. He takes us from the Civil War era until today, focusing on three major waves of immigrants, refugees, and fortune seekers. He traces the movement of Polish immigrants from the peasantry to the middle class to the urban working class, dominated by major industries, to suburbia. He documents the Polish-Chicago alignment and other divisions with Chicago ethnic groups, the Catholic Church, unions, politicians, and City Hall. Today, Chicago is being slowly eclipsed by other Polish immigration centers, but it remains a vibrant and sometimes contentious heart of the American-Polish experience. Next up, Arthur Vandenberg, The Man in the Middle of the American Century by Hendrik Meijer. The idea that a senator, Republican or Democrat, would put the greater good for the country ahead of party seems nearly impossible to imagine in our current climate of gridlock and divisiveness. But that hasn't always been the case, as Arthur Vandenberg, a conservative Republican from Grand Rapids, was the model of consensus building and coalitions as he spearheaded to form the foundation of American foreign policy and domestic policy. Edward Murrow called him the central pivot of an entire era. Yet despite his significance, Vandenberg has never received his full public attention he is due until now. With a new authoritative biography, Hendrik Meijer reveals how Vandenberg built and nurtured the bipartisan consensus that led to the creation of the American century. Originally the editor and publisher of the Grand Rapids Herald, Vandenberg was appointed and later elected to the Senate in 1928, where he became an outspoken opponent of the New Deal and a leader among the isolationists who resisted FDR's attempt to aid European allies at the onset of World War II. But Vandenberg soon recognized the need for unity at the dawn of a new world order, and as a Republican leader, he worked closely with the Democratic administrations to build a strong bipartisan consensus that established the Marshall Plan, the UN, and NATO. Vandenberg was instrumental in organizing congressional support for these monumental foreign policy decisions. It's a great read and very appropriate for our time. Next up, The Cabinet of Linguistic Curiosities, a yearbook of forgotten words by Paul Anthony Jones, and he has unearthed a wealth of strange and forgotten words, eliminating some aspects of the day or simply telling a cracking good yarn, each with a revealing story. Written with a light touch that belies the depth of his research, this is both a fascinating compendium of etymology and a captivating historical miscellaneity. Dip into this beautiful book to be lighted and intrigued. And finally, we have The Demon in the Machine by Paul Davies. How is life created from the chaos of the primordial soup? Well, Davies explores these and other issues in this fascinating new book. He takes a look at what is information on the origins of life and nature, and he proposes a radical vision of biology where he sees the underpinnings of life as similar to circuits and electronics. If you're interested in process at all, this is definitely the way for you to think about life moving forward in a way that you probably haven't done so before. So I commend all four of these books to you and the Chicago Press for printing them. Thanks so much for listening. This is Tom Fox. I hope you have a great weekend from the Daily Compliance News.